Okay, thank you. Maybe first order of business is for everybody to introduce themselves. So I'll just go by what's up on my screen, and I'll start with Hazel, if you want to
Good
give
morning,
yourself.
I'm Hazel Martin, and I am a counselor for the town of Diamond Valley. And this will be technically my third term.
On my screen, so that's myself next, Harry Reva Cameron. As I mentioned, I've met everybody. So next is Joe.
Yeah, good morning. My name is Joe Angevine. I'm the manager of the landfill site here. I've been out here for about probably 12, 13 years, something in that range now. And yeah, looking forward to the next 4 years here with some new board members.
Dave?
Yeah, Dave Mitchell, Councillor Town of Nanton, and I think this is my fourth on this particular committee. So,
Felicia.
Good morning. I'm just with Legislative Services with Foothills County, and I just do the live streaming for this committee.
Courtney. You're muted, Courtney. Sorry. Oh, still no sound. So Courtney is the keeps all the agendas organized and does all the bills and accounts, and so and is a county employee. Vion.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Vion Kruger, Director of Public Works for Foothills County. Been here around 10 or so years, and newer to the director role. Yeah, thank you.
Oliver.
Oliver Hallmark, second term counselor for Okotoks.
Jason.
Good morning, Jason London. I'm the manager of waste services here in the town of Okotoks.
Benita.
Good morning. Newly elected counselor for Division 2 for Foothills County.
And Michael.
Good morning, everyone. Michael Nychuk, counselor with the town of High River. Apologize for the video feed not coming through, but I'm currently driving, so I'll just leave that off. So.
Thank you, everyone. So I'll call the meeting to order, and we'll look to adopt the agenda for the organizational meeting, which precedes the regular meeting. So if I could have a motion to adopt the agenda, unless there's any additions that someone would like to include. Hazel Martin from Diamond Valley moved adoption of the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Everyone is in favor, unless I hear to the negative, I will take it that you're in support. So at this moment, we need nominations for the position of chair of the Foothills Regional Services Commission. This is the organizational meeting is annual, so this is a 1 year to be reviewed at the next organizational meeting, which will be next December probably. Hazel.
I'd like to ask if Dave would like to be the chair.
thanks, Hazel. Actually, I'd rather not. And the biggest reason is Nanton's kind of a guest. We do use the landfill, but it's in the Foothills region, which we are not a part of. So I'd rather have it somebody in the actual county.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Michael, would you be interested?
I would, but I've taken on something from a health services perspective that has me pretty busy. So I don't feel that I would do the position justice at this time. So you can keep me in mind for next December, Hazel.
Okay, thank you.
Oliver, would you be interested?
Yeah, like I'm capable of, yeah, sure. I'm not very tech savvy.
Nominate Oliver.
The challenge is I'm not very tech savvy. So to like following along with, well, I could probably do this. Yeah, I can do it.
Then I would like to nominate Oliver Hallmark as position for chair.
Okay, thank you. Oliver's accepted. I'll ask for any additional nominations for chair. And the third and final time, are there any other nominations for chair? Seeing none, I will declare Mr. Hallmark as chair of the Foothills Regional Services Commission and turn the meeting over to him to look for nominations for vice chair of the commission.
Thank you so much, Harry. At this time, I'd like to look for nominations for the position of vice chair. Councillor Mitchell?
I would like to nominate Hazel if she would accept the position.
I
Counselor.
should be able to do that.
Perfect. And anybody else? Anyone to be nominated? I see none. Hazel, you are the vice chair.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're at number 5 of the agenda. Harry, you're gonna have to jump in here at any time because I was not expecting to be chairing this meeting. So we're going to go to banking signing officers. The recommendation here from admin is chair, vice chair, CAO, and director of corporate services.
Yes, and I would, for the minutes of signing officer, of course, it needs to be chair and vice chair. Due to ease of, I guess, having things signed, when we look at banking, if Councillor Benita Estes was willing, because she would be here at the office on a regular basis, if we could have her as one of the banking individuals as well. Just a matter of convenience. The board still approves all the accounts payable and that, so it's just tracking people down, that's all.
Yes, I'd be sorry, I would be willing to take that.
So if that were acceptable, I would just need a motion to the chair, vice chair, CAO, and director of corporate services and director Estes.
Would somebody like to make that motion that the recommendation be chair, vice chair, CAO, director of corporate services, and Councillor Estes?
I'll just jump in, guys, because I can't put my hand up because I'm driving, but I'll give you that motion. It's Michael.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Nychuk. Did I say your name correctly, Michael?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you very much.
And anybody opposed to that motion? I see none, so that's carried. And then at this point, I guess we are setting our regular meeting and time and date. the recommendation from administration is the fourth Monday of every month, immediately following the landfill operations meeting or at the call of the chair. Does that sound
And
good to everybody?
I would ask the board if we could have the December meeting on the 15th instead of the 22nd, but that would be the only sort of off.
15th December. And then that would be at the same time as it is today, 9:30, Harry?
Yes, that's our regular time. So the landfill portion of the meeting's at 9:30 and the Frank Lake portion follows right after.
Okay. I would be good with that record. Does anybody have a problem with that date?
I'm good with that.
I'm good with that.
Perfect. Okay. I see no issues. So do we need a motion on that one, Harry?
Yes, if we could have a motion to set the regular meeting as the fourth Monday of every month, with the exception of December, which would be the 15th.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Estes. Am I saying that name right?
It's Estes.
Estes. Okay, Councillor Estes.
Right.
Any objection to Councillor Estes's motion? I see none, so that's carried. And then I'm looking for a motion for adjournment. And I see Councillor Martin. Any objection? I see none. All right, thank you, folks. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, so Harry, you've got to walk me through this a little bit today. I'm sorry about that. Which organizational meeting? I've got two of them open.
Okay. And then if there's any additions, and then an adoption of this agenda.
Perfect. Excellent. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to call this meeting to order at 9:42 a.m. on Monday, November 24th, 2025. I'm going to look for any additions to this agenda. Anything from admin? I see none.
I'm not sure, just one sec, Harry, I'm not sure if you wanted me to add the kind of that summary presentation for the new board members about the history of the landfill site and the commission.
Yes, I'm sorry, but you're right, Manager Angevine. So
I could just do that when I'm doing my operations update too, though. So that's I'll just add that at the end of my operations update.
Perfect. Do we want to add a separate tab for that, or we'll just add it with, you'll just do it with 7A?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, there's nothing really groundbreaking there that needs to be voted on. It's just kind of a historical lesson for the board members to understand how the commission came together and managed the site over the years.
Perfect. Sounds great. Okay, so I'm going to look for a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Oh, okay. I'll take that from Councillor Estes.
Yes.
Did I say that correctly, Estes?
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, we'll get this after a year of me doing this. Okay, so we take that motion from Councillor Estes to adopt the agenda. Anybody opposed? I see none. So that's carried. And now we'll move on to number 4, acceptance of the FRSC minutes from the previous meeting. These minutes are from the meeting held on Monday, September 22nd, 2025. Would somebody like to make the motion to accept those minutes? I see Councillor Mitchell. Any opposition or anybody against? I see none. So that's carried. Number 5, accounts payable. This is the recommendation from admin, is that the accounts payable dated September 29th, 2025 in the amount of $50,045.10 be accepted for payment. Any discussion on this? I see none. Would somebody like to make that Oh, should I put all of these into one motion to accept all of these at once, Harry?
Generally one at a time, I believe.
Oh,
so.
okay. Okay, so can I get a motion to accept the $50,045.10 be accepted as payment? I see Councillor Martin. Any opposition? I see none. Next, the accounts payable dated October 27th, 2025 in the amount of $764,172.10 be accepted for payment. Any discussion? I see none. Oh, sorry, Hazel, or sorry, Councillor Martin.
No worries. Just a question on your Staples purchase. Was that like for like 6 months at a time?
They had like a ergonomic assessment person come through for the county, and so they made a bunch of recommendations on some of our workstations and chairs and stuff like that we had at the site here. So that was why there's a little.
Oh, a little bit more.
Yeah, we had enough in the budget for it, so we went ahead and did it. But yeah, they sent out a ergonomics specialist, and apparently some of our stuff was not ideal.
Okay, well, that's good. Okay, thank you.
Oh, I should also add, Councillor Martin, that that's also a big order of thermal paper for the scale included in that, which is very expensive. It's like, we order it typically like once a year, and it's like $1,200 or something like that, just for thermal paper for the scale. It's quite expensive.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for that, Joe. And any more discussion on this one? I see none. Would somebody like to make the motion to accept the $764,172.10 be accepted as payment? Councillor Mitchell? Anybody opposed? I see none. That's carried. Okay, next, the accounts payable dated November 24th, 2025 in the amount of $619,003.17 be accepted as payment. Any discussion on this item? I see none. Anybody like to make the motion to accept the $619,003.17 accepted for payment?
I'll give that to you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Martin. Any opposed? I see none. That's carried. Perfect. We're at number 6. The tonnage reports. This is a recommendation from administration. The tonnage reports for the month of September 2025 be accepted as presented. Oh, this is for September. Any discussion on September? Oh, Councillor Martin?
I just have a comment. So Diamond Valley and Okotoks have gone to a bi-weekly garbage schedule, black bin pickup schedule, and I'm not really seeing much of a decline in the numbers.
I could look into that in more detail. I mean, typically, in my experience, when you reduce the frequency of the hauls, it doesn't have a huge impact on the tonnage. It just, instead of dumping some bins that are half full, you're dumping all full bins, right?
Yeah.
Over the 2 weeks. The other issue that we run into sometimes is you get more people that just self-haul waste. If you reduce the frequencies of pickups at their house, people just drive it out to us. So we get a lot of people that just will self-haul their garbage. So yeah, so you may have seen a small drop in tonnage because of the bi-weekly pickup, but that may be offset by the people that are just now self-hauling. So I can look into it more detail, but just off the top of my head, that was my experience with Okotoks when they went to bi-weekly. Was we just had more people self-hauling, and so the tonnage stayed fairly consistent.
Yeah, because I'm just totally surprised. I'm just looking at the September numbers right now, and there's not much of a difference at all.
Yeah, you see a bigger change when you start to add the blue carts and green carts and stuff like that than if you just change the frequency of the haul. I don't know if Jason, if you have some thoughts to add to that too, but
Mr.
Thank
London?
you.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, Councillor Hallmark, hope it's okay if I jump in. Yeah, I would say that I don't think it was ever, we might have expected to have seen a very small decrease with people shifting more waste into their organics and recycling carts, but I think Joe's got it right. But Joe, are you also confirming that you have seen an increase in self-haul garbage since, let's say, May of last year?
Again, I can look into that in more detail. I don't want to say it's definitely, but that I just kind of anecdotally, when sometimes I help cover breaks in the scale or something, and anecdotally, I do notice more self-hauling people when they reduce the frequency.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. Thank you.
They like to complain to us the scale of why they have to drive their garbage out to the landfill. So we hear all about it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe, and thank you, Jason. Any more discussion on this, on the September 2025 tonnage report? I see none. Would somebody like to make the motion to accept the September 2025 tonnage report?
I'll make that motion.
Oh, I see Councillor Estes. Any opposed? I see none, so that's carried. So now we'll go to the tonnage reports for the month of October 2025 to be accepted as presented. Is there any discussion on October's tonnage report? I see none. Would somebody like to make the motion that the tonnage reports for the month of October 2025 be accepted as presented? And Councillor Mitchell, any discussion? Anybody opposed? I see none, so that's carried. So we're now on business, and we are all so excited to hear from Joe Angevine. Is that correct? Angevine? Perfect.
Close enough. Yeah, so maybe actually I was thinking probably a better way to do this is actually do the presentation to start, so that some of the stuff that I talk about will make more sense to some of the new board members, because kind of goes through and shows some pictures of the site and some of these spots that we'll be talking about. Can everybody see that?
No, not yet.
Okay, let me try that again. Oh, that's the problem. I have to be approved to share screen. Is that Felicia? Can you help me with that? There we go. Thank
That
you.
should work for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, can everyone see that now?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, Foothills Regional Landfill. We, about 5-6 years ago or something like that, we rebranded to be and Resource Recovery Center, because as you'll see as I go through the presentation, we have a large focus on trying to divert waste here. Our partnership with the Salvage Center, all those types of things. We're trying to just be a landfill out here, but also recover, reuse, recycle as many different materials as possible that come our way. So just a few kind of this is kind of a breakdown of the two different parts of the commission. There's, as Harry mentioned earlier, there's the Frank Lake transmission line, which only 3 of the communities are involved in that part of it. And on the landfill side, there's all 5 communities. Used to be 6, but then the amalgamation of Black Diamond Turner Valley, we're down to 5 now. So there's 2 kind of parts of the commission, and they typically meet one after the other each month. Kind of a breakdown. I'll have to update the names on the councillors here, but you get the idea. And then basically CEO is Harry Riva Cambron, myself as the site manager. I have Jim Brown, who helps me on site here, kind of the day-to-day operations. And when I'm off site, he helps oversee things. And then we have Courtney is the landfill coordinator down this part here. We have scale operators that run the scale house here on site, heavy equipment operators, truck drivers, laborers, light equipment operators, all those types of things, as well as we oversee 2 transfer stations in the Foothills County area at Pritis and kind of between Black Diamond and Turner Valley. In Diamond Valley there's a transfer station as well. And those sites can be used by the residents of those towns as well as Foothills County. So there's like a shared cost thing that goes on with those transfer stations. But those, basically everything that gets collected there is hauled to the landfill here as well. So we service the entire region, kind of south of Calgary to Nanton. So just kind of a brief history of the commission. It's incorporated in 1989 and initially was set to operate the Frank Lake system. The commission then assumed any debts on the Frank Lake, for the historical debts there, and removed it from the municipality's debt load. So that was done back in the 80s. And in 1996, the assets and operations of the Regional Waste Management Authority were transferred to a services commissions of the current FRSC. That was kind of the early days of the commission. So initially it was mostly involved in Frank Lake, and then eventually they expanded that to also be part of to have the landfill involved as well. So the siting study was done back in 1980, and that was carried out by Bissell and Associates. The site is just south of Okotoks, 3.5 miles south of Okotoks. The site is actually owned by Alberta Environment and leased to the landfill authority. So the commission has to basically pay Alberta Environment a small lease every year. I forget how much it is, but it's not very much. It's like $1,000 a year or something like that, if that. But the site was built with a provincial grant. The Waste Management Authority was formed. Originally, it was just Okotoks, High River, and Foothills County. The site was opened 1982. Black Diamond and Turner Valley then joined in 86. And then it became the formal commission that it is today in 1996. And Nanton joined in 2001. And that's been it. We've had requests in the past from other municipalities. I can't remember who it is that's south of Nanton there. Claresholm and those types of places have asked to be part of it over the years too, but that was not accepted back when those options were presented. So in 1981, again, the management authority was formed with those original members. 1982 landfill opens. Oh, we already talked about most of this. Yeah, I had that on there twice, sorry. The administration. So initially it was overseen by the town of Okotoks back when it was first formed, the landfill site. They had kind of a rotating thing going on where every few years a different member municipality would manage and oversee the landfill site. That was deemed to be inefficient and kind of unnecessary. And, the people that had expertise in running the site over those 3 years were no longer involved. So that, it was kind of training new people every 3 years. So then as of 1991, the commission voted to just have Foothills County oversee it into the future. So, and that's basically all our staff today at the landfill site are Foothills County staff. So our wages are paid by the commission. So the commission reimburses Foothills County for our wages and those types of benefits and those types of things. But we're all under Foothills County safety program, WCB, and all that stuff like that. Historical funding. So how did they fund the site back in the day when it's first started? From 82 to 92, the municipalities were the site was actually running deficits. So it was a cost to the member municipalities, and it was like a cost sharing that was billed back at the end of the year to the different municipalities. In 1993, they decided to start charging tipping fees, and that should cover the cost. So basically, you pay for what you dump at the site. So from 82 to 94, only the municipalities and commercial haulers were charged. So residential loads were just billed back to the respective municipalities. And then as of 1994, Okotoks was the first community to change that and go with the user pay system and say, we're no longer paying for our residents to dump there. They have to pay for their own loads. That expanded to all the different municipalities by 1995. So, so basically $500,000 in deficits were incurred in the first decade. And now the site typically turns a profit, and we have a pretty strong reserves as well. So currently, we're able each year to set between usually $1 to $2 million a year aside for what's called post-closure, which is basically the end of life of the landfill. When we're no longer accepting waste, we still have to monitor the site. We still have to haul leachate, which is the liquid that collects at the bottom of the landfill. That still has to be hauled and taken for treatment and those types of things. So money is set aside every year to cover those long-term costs to the sites, as well as for equipment replacement, all those types of things. The gear out here just gets more and more expensive every year. So that's all That's all paid for by tipping fees by the commercial haulers, customers that come up to the site, covers all those costs now. And typically we're still able to put, like I said, in the range of $1 to $2 million a year into these different reserves, depending on what we need. Yeah, so nowadays there's no chargebacks to the communities. Hasn't been the whole time I've been here. Every year the site has been profitable since I've worked out here. So apparently that's rare. We did a life cycle analysis study with Tetra Tech a few years back. They said that was quite rare for municipal landfills of our size to be profitable the way we are. So I think we're doing a good job out here, and some of the bigger big city sites will make strong revenue, but a lot of the smaller sites struggle to kind of make ends meet with how expensive the landfill is to run. Just to give you some perspective on kind of airspace consumption, this is kind of the basic idea at a landfill is that the landfill's value is the airspace that's approved to fill with waste. And every year we track that very closely as to how much is consumed. You can see the big years here were the flood years. So, back when I first started, we were consuming, 50, 60,000, 70,000 cubic meters. Some of these are not entirely accurate. The drone scans have gotten better over the years, as well as we had like soil stockpiles that they incorporated into these that shouldn't have been, and those types of things. But you get the basic idea. These numbers, as we've gone on, are more accurate. Initially, we were still kind of learning how to do that properly and how to track this properly. But you can see the big spike with the flood, 160,000 cubic meters of consumed airspace in that 1 year. And then 2 years following were very heavy years as well, with all the rebuild and reconstruction, stuff like that happens after a disaster. But then you can see a huge drop off back to 2016 in these years. Yeah, there's a real ebb and flow with waste. It's not consistent every year, but and then as municipalities change their operations, it affects us as well. All those types of things. If there's big construction projects in the area, all those types of things matter. The big thing here you can see is the total approved airspace for the entire site is 7 million cubic meters, and we still have 5 million of that remaining. So we've got lots of remaining airspace on the site. And as you can see, we're getting better and better over the years at how little airspace we consume. We used to be in the 90s and 80,000, 70s, and now, despite the fact we're probably getting more waste in these years, we've just gotten more efficient. We've got a GPS system on our packer that helps us make sure we're getting better compaction, all those types of things. So, yeah, I feel like over the years, we've just steadily improved our operations to be more and more efficient with the airspace we have. This gives you kind of an bird's eye view of the site. Again, current estimates at the rate we're consuming that airspace that I showed in the last slide is about 60 to 70 years of airspace remaining on the site. So if you've ever come to the site, this is our entrance here. We've got our scale house operations are right here. This is kind of our office that I'm in right now. The salvage center has its own separate entrance. I'll go through that in a little more detail here shortly, but this is the salvage center for any of you that know that area. So this is an old closed landfill area that was basically just a clay liner underneath that old landfill from the 80s and 90s, as well this area where they built this is a composting operation here, these rows. That's on top of old landfill as well from the 80s and 90s. So this whole kind of middle area has already got a bunch of waste in it. The properly modern landfill, like, sorry, my bad there. With HDP lined landfill cells are all this south section here at the site. That's kind of this whole area here is all the more recent, over the last 20 years, the cells that have been built here. And this is where we're currently working in. Our most recent cell we built is this one here. You can actually see the drainage medium at the bottom of that cell is that black tire shred. In that cell, but we've since put waste on top of all that. But yeah, so this is kind of old waste that we're now covering. We're capping. If you hear me talk about a biocover or a cap, that's what this dark section of dirt here is. That's going over top of the old waste. And this year we actually expanded that around the corner to about here, around this corner as well. So this whole corner of the old landfill is being capped right now with what's called the evapotranspirative biocover. So if any of you are keen to learn what that is, I can share more, but it's, yeah, probably not worth getting into at this time. But and then just kind of the drop-off area for the residents is this area here. That's our throw and go area. So there's all kinds of used oil, propane tanks, all that stuff, household hazardous waste, as well as garbage can be dropped off there. And when I talk about hydrovac operations, the hydrovac trucks, we have a dump pad here. That's these two pits here. Those hydrovac trucks can dump into those two pits. And then we recover all the water into this decanting pond. You can see it's a black lined pond as well. That's our decanting pond for the hydrovac water. And we are able to reuse that water to irrigate trees and stuff on the site, as well as water the compost rows, dust suppression on site, those types of things. Construction, if we were building a cell, or the guys that were building our new shop are using the water as well for kind of the clay pad base structure there and stuff like that. So yeah, that gives you an overview of the site. How these landfills are built, there's a lot that goes into it. As you can see, this is the HDP liner that I was talking about, high density polyethylene, basically a thick plastic layer, and that goes at the base and goes all the way across the whole bottom of our landfill cells. And that is to protect the groundwater from the waste. The leachate is what they call the liquid waste that drains to the bottom of the landfills. And you can see there's a series of pipes. These are all perforated pipes and trenches that this all connects into, so that that liquid can drain to where we can haul it. We can spray it off. We can do different things with that liquid, but generally it's hauled for sewage treatment, basically. Just some more images for you of just how a new cell is built. Kind of gives you, again, you can see the drainage trenches here with drainage rock, perforated pipe in the middle of that drainage rock. And these riser pipes are how we can access that liquid. We have sumps and manholes and stuff like that. But yeah, kind of just some cool pictures that give you an idea how the cells are built out here to protect the groundwater. So we're operating under an Alberta Environment Approval. It was originally licensed in 1981. And then in 1996, Alberta Environment basically started overseeing all the landfills. Our first approval out here with them was in 1999. We're currently operating under the approval from 2014. They keep giving us 1-year extensions because they're Alberta Environment, and it takes them 3 years to get anything done, it seems. So yeah, so our approval is still, we're pending, they're typically a 10-year approval is what you get when you get it approved. I've been working with them on that for about 3 years now, and they don't seem to have any concerns about our approval. They're just slow, so they keep giving us 1-year extensions that we're operating under currently, which is typically August of each year. They keep giving us an extension. They're hoping to have it done by Christmas of this year, but I doubt that's going to happen. So probably spring to summer of next year, we should have our 10-year approval all done. Kind of already went through that, just the overhead view of the site. Some of the things, just so you're familiar, this is our old equipment storage shop. You'll hear me talking about the new shop that we're building. So that's been our big construction project this year, is to replace this old building. Is pretty rotten, full of mice, all that kind of lovely stuff. So we're going to gut this building eventually and just use it for storage bays for a couple of our trucks will basically be in there, and then some kind of just storage of whatever, filters and all those types of things for the heavy equipment. But that will be our lunchroom and washrooms and stuff will be no longer used in that shop. Well, the washroom will still be there, but lunchroom and all that, it's pretty gross in that shop. So that's part of why we're building a new shop for our staff, so they can have a nice lunchroom and change rooms and those types of things. This is the office that I work out of, and my operations supervisor, Jim. It's just basically a small little house with a conference room and a washroom and kitchen and a couple offices. That's basically it. Oh, that's our scale house. So this is all the customers pull up, talk through these drive-through windows, tell people in our scale what they have, and then on the outbound on the other side is where they would make their payments. So every load that comes to the site is scaled inbound and outbound, and the difference in their weights is what we charge the customers for. And then there's different, depending on what they have, there's different rates too. So some things are more expensive to drop off than others. Typically, if we can recycle something or keep it out of the landfill, we charge less. If it goes into the landfill, we charge more. That's the basic rule of thumb. Salvage Center is pretty one of a kind. Everywhere that I go, I've probably done 4 or 5 presentations at conferences about this because people are so interested in what we're doing out here, and it's such a success story. But this basically started with a lady with an old military tent in our parking lot. Just take it or leave it type idea, something that you don't need anymore, someone else could use. It's now expanded to a large nonprofit organization that we help. So we gave them the land, the commission gave them the land to operate on. We help them. We've built them roads, we've built them parking lots, all those types of things. We've helped them out. We grade their roads. We do, we haul the garbage that they do have for them. So it's kind of a partnership with these guys that we work very closely with them, have a good relationship with them. Their whole goal and mission is to keep waste out of the landfill. So they divert tens of thousands of tons a year that don't enter the landfill. And most recently, they're usually in the range of $500,000 to $700,000 a year that they make in revenue just from stuff that otherwise would have been thrown out at the landfill. So it's pretty amazing what they do, pretty impressive what they do. All kinds of special needs people that go there and work. They have people can volunteer to work there. It's a neat benefit to the community as well. There's about 7 full-time employees, so it's a huge benefit to the region. That partnership with the salvage center. Some of the heavy equipment we have on site, dozers, excavators, rock trucks, all that fun stuff, roll-off trucks for dumping our bins, and hauling and picking up at the transfer stations. Those are all some of our heavy equipment that you'll see needs to be replaced over the years and is maintained and just keeps getting way more expensive. It's crazy. That's the big one, the landfill compactor that we're replacing next year. So you'll be hearing a lot about that. We currently run a CAT 836K. We're probably looking to go a different route next time. This has been kind of a lemon. This last one that we bought has had 3 major rebuilds, and CAT and thinning have been awful to deal with in every part of that. So we'll be looking at some different options for replacing this unit early next year. So the residential drop off, you might hear about this too, our throw and go area. You can see up here, we've got a C-can right now. We're currently recycling mattresses in there. We're probably going to do away with that approach probably next year. We're working on some different options. It's just been too expensive, this option. There's a more efficient way I think we can do this. But currently that's what we're doing to recycle mattresses and keep them out of the landfill. They're a nightmare in the landfill. And you can see we've got nice safety rails and parking blocks and all that stuff. This is the drop off for garbage for residential customers in our throw and go area. Other things, we collect electronics. We actually get paid for recycling the electronics, so that's a nice thing. Basically, anything with a cord on it, that you can plug in can be recycled here, and we get paid for that. Our household hazardous waste area. This has been featured in courses and stuff like that around the province as well. This setup that we have is, in my opinion, one of the best in the province. Everything's outdoors, fresh air, lots of light, all those types of things. So it's a nice way to deal with all the flammables, poisons, all those different things that people drop off at the site here, and we can sort them into these drums, label them properly, and then Clean Harbors comes and picks that up for us. Usually every couple of weeks they come and pick up at least 4 or 5 drums full of stuff that we pack into those drums. Used oil, all that type of stuff, glycol, batteries, that's all recycled out here. Most of that stuff, not most of it, but some of it we get paid for, some we don't. There's a tire recycling area. We take tires at no charge. Customers pay an eco fee when they buy tires. That helps cover the cost of us collecting them, and then a truck to come pick those up and recycle them. Typically those are recycled into matting materials like you'd see in an ice rink that you can walk on, that's soft rubber flooring, or the stuff at playgrounds that you see, or it gets shred up and we use it in construction at the landfill. We also sell different types of wood chip and compost and those types of things at the landfill site here. So we've got all kinds of stuff that we sell to the public as well. Composting operations. So we take leaf and yard waste, currently no charge. We're looking at maybe putting some minimum charges in moving forward as operations do get more and more expensive, and we've kind of been subsidizing this over the years for the towns, but that's to be determined. Nothing's been finalized yet on that. It'll probably be discussed with our budget coming up in the next month or so here. But basically, yeah, leaf and yard waste, we turn it into final compost, which you can see in the background here. Takes about a year from the time the stuff is dropped off and our process that we put it through for it to be finished compost. And most of that we sell to landscaping companies, or we've used it for our capping operations at the landfill over the last couple of years. That bio cover I mentioned earlier, a lot of that is this compost that we make on site. So that's pretty cool that we can make the product that we need at the landfill to cap the landfill, which is kind of nice. This is just an old picture, but you get the idea of kind of the active landfill area. So basically the landfill you're taking waste and you're building what are called lifts, but basically you're building a hill out of garbage over the years. So the full day's worth of waste is packed and built into a lift, typically about 3 meters high, and then you cover it with dirt. And then, the next day you can then go and work on top of that lift once it's packed properly, all those types of things. And that's why you have, 30 years of waste just looks like a big hill by the end of it. And then you seed it and cover it, and it looks quite nice when it's all done. And again, at the base of all that is that HDP liner to protect the groundwater. So the liquid is all controlled, and the most of the litter is controlled by the use of that cover. But at times you can see some stuff is a little exposed by the wind, etc. But most of it ends up staying. And we've got better wind fencing and stuff too now than this picture. Capping, I mentioned, this is kind of what that process looks like, that bio cover, spreading that nice mix of topsoil and compost. And then we hydroseed that. And you can see this section over here, that was the previous section that was hydroseeded and now has long grass growing on it. This was the new section that we did this year. You put down a little wood chip first, and then you cover it with this topsoil and compost for a finished cap. And the cool thing with that is it helps, it's like a big sponge. It's about 1 meter thick, the whole cap layer. And it's a sponge that soaks up all the moisture when it rains and snows. And make sure that moisture doesn't get down into the waste to create more leachate, as well as methane that comes up out of the old waste. The bugs in this thick layer feed on methane, so you actually get kind of a natural methane reduction as part of this cap structure as well. So you get kind of a dual purpose, which is the neat thing about this cap. And we have the biggest cap of this kind in basically Western Canada. So Leduc had done a small little test study with the U of C on something like this, but we now have almost what are we up to now? Probably almost 30,000 square meters of old landfill capped with this type of cap. So pretty cool. And that covers the presentation. So any questions with the landfill and the history there? And
Is this presentation available in like a PDF form?
For sure,
I get a copy of it just so I can, if you get asked questions or anything, it'd be nice to be able to answer them. I mean, it was a great presentation. Thank you very much. But it would also be nice to just go over it again a couple more times.
For sure. Yeah, I can definitely send that out to the whole board.
Thank you.
Councillor Martin?
Excuse me. At the last meeting I attended, there was a discussion, or there was a presentation, pardon me, on the leachate potential, diverting the leachate so that we wouldn't be hauling it out. Is that still an ongoing project?
Yeah, so that'll be, I believe, included in the budget for next year. So the option to extend that and move that forward. So hasn't been finalized yet, but yes, that is still in the works. And that project kind of ties in with the BioCover project. So it'll be built right above where the BioCover ends, that pad for reducing leachate. So for the new board members, it's basically a pad of willow trees that we're building, about 2 hectares of willow trees up on top of the landfill. And the idea is that you can water the willow trees with the leachate that comes out of the landfill. Instead of hauling it to sewage treatment, you can water those willows, and they basically just they absorb and suck up all that water and grow, and then you have to harvest them every 3 to 4 years. But it's a nice way to reduce any leachate we have to haul off site, which this year we had crazy amounts we had to haul off site because of all the rain. So it's a nice option for us moving forward. But yes, that is still in the works, Councilor.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, if there's no more questions on that presentation, I'll move into the rest of my operations update. Not seeing any. Okay. So hydrovac waste has continued to be steady. We thought it might slow down in November. It hasn't. We're just truck after truck after truck coming in from High River for the fiber optic upgrades in High River. So we're going to have a very, very strong year for revenue from hydrovac. Basically should probably have the pad basically paid off the initial construction costs by the end of this year. So that is looking pretty good after about 3 to 3.5 years of operations. I think our initial business plan, we had said we estimated 8 to 10 years for full payback on the initial investment, and we're there in probably 3 to 4 years. So that has proven we got lucky with the timing that we built that just before this High River fiber optic upgrade, because that has basically paid for the whole project. As I mentioned, the building shell is going up for a new shop, so that's nice to see that Integrity is finally on site and putting up posts and trusses and all that stuff like that. So we kind of have a shell taking place, and that's going to continue through the rest of the winter. They have to, obviously, it's going to make their operations tougher that they've waited this long to start, but that's kind of on them. There shouldn't be any extra cost for us. They're just going to have to heat the building and do all these things to before they can pour the concrete, et cetera. That's going to add costs on their end, but it shouldn't affect us. That's all detailed out in the contract. BioCover project was completed and seeded since our last meeting. That section I showed in the presentation there. We have one small section left to do next year, about 2,000 square meters, not even, and that'll finish off that BioCover project. So that ended up being about a 3 to 4 year project to get that all done. But that should be wrapped up next year. So that went quite well. We've gotten pretty good at it now. We've done it for a couple of years and have a good process down. And we worked with Shawnee Excavating the last 2 years with their GPS dozer. They have a really good operator that knows how to work with that material now. And it's tricky because it's so soft to get everything up to final grade. But we've got a good process and should have that done next year. And it'll be very low cost next year to finish that project. We're basically almost done it. Wood grind was huge. We had a lot of wood this year, one of the biggest wood piles we've ever had over summer and fall. So likely going to be a little bit over budget on that. Combined with, as I mentioned, we had all the leachate hauling we had to do in the summer. So we'll be over budget in that area for sure on the work contracted part of our budget. But we've cut back in other things that we were planning to do, other projects we cut back and didn't do, to try and minimize that effect to the overall budget. So the overall budget should still be strong, despite the fact that we had some large unexpected costs on the leachate hauling in the summer because of the crazy rain, and a lot more wood this year than was expected. One of our biggest years ever for wood. But we were able to move all of the finished grind wood off-site, so that is usually tough to do. So that was nice, and basically our pads are completely empty again for the winter. I've been working with the U of C students on basically the last 2 years, our exterior ponds have breached with the heavy rains that we had the last 2 years in the spring and summer, which is a violation of our approval. So basically, the long story short, for the new board members, we don't have quite enough storage capacity on site with our stormwater system to maintain when we get those big heavy rains, like we had in July of this year, June, July there. So our ponds breach and they overflow to the ditch on the highway, which is not directly connected with any body of water for miles, but technically it is a violation of our approval. So I've been working with U of C. It's kind of like a graduate student capstone project to come up with some options on us to expand our stormwater carrying capacity on site here. And they're getting pretty close to finalizing those recommendations, at which point I can put together some budget numbers and come back to the board probably next year with some options to expand our stormwater system. So hopefully we can minimize the chances of future outbreaks leaving the site. Even when we do have the ponds breach, the water is always clean because it's just rain. It's just heavy rain. So we have to test that water and report it to environment, but they're never concerned about it. But it is just annoying to have to go through the process, and there's extra costs of pumping and hauling and testing the water and all those things that are, we're going to try and solve that long term. You never want to be reporting violations to Alberta environments if you don't have to. So we're going to try and solve that problem moving forward as well. Upcoming issues we're going to be working on as winter sets in here. We typically shift some of our focus to things like safety training, stuff like that we can do in the office with staff over the winter. We have a business continuity plan that we're working on over the next while here, as well as a regional disaster debris management plan that we're going to be working on over the next few months here. So there's some projects we'll be picking away at over the winter. Any questions on operations?
Anybody have any questions? I see none.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Sorry, Harry, do we have to make a motion to accept 7A as information, or do you is there any motion through number 7 at all?
There could be a motion to acknowledge the report from the manager.
Okay, I just think for clean minutes, I think we should do that. Does anybody have want to make the motion to accept this report as information?
I'll give you that motion. It's Michael.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Nychuk. Anybody opposed? I see none. That's carried. So we'll go to 7B, unaudited statement of operating revenues and expenses dated September 30th, 2025, from Mr. Hammond.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Good morning, everyone. I'm just going to try and continue with a good news message from the operations manager, Mr. Angevine. The Foothills Regional Services Commission is sitting at a very healthy financial position as of the end of the month, September 30th, 2025. Revenues are quite high, and this is mostly from, like Mr. Angevine said, the hydrovac revenue. We are about, at the end of September, we are about 600,000 higher than budgeted, and this is due to the sales during the spring-fall seasons. The other revenue that is the other revenue that has a huge difference is the interest revenue. Interest revenue is lower than estimated because interest rates have dropped since the budget was created last year. So, but overall, we're sitting at a very good financial position in terms of revenue. We're about 6 million. The expenses are quite low compared to budget. The budget for the expenses is about 5 million, and we're sitting about 2.5 at the end of September. So that gives us net gain or net revenue of 3.6. And in terms of capital expenditures, there was a freight liner that was purchased for almost 400,000, and we are self-funding the construction of the shop. So that's part of our capital expenditures. So taking out the capital expenditures, there's a net revenue or net gain of about 2.6 million at the end of September. And in terms of reserves, the landfill has about almost 20 million in reserves for site closure and other equipment purchases. So overall, the landfill is doing really well. And with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Was there any questions? Councillor Martin.
I know that our council has been talking, we'll know more in the new year of potentially having to raise our rates on our black bins. And I'm wondering if is a landfill, is there any way that maybe the that some of these costs, is there any way of reducing some of the costs for our various partners or anything like that? I know this is a tough question, and maybe I didn't explain myself well enough.
If I may, through the chair, it's something I'll defer to the CAO, but it's something that we can look at when I bring the budget in a few weeks. The board obviously can decide to go that route, but I'll defer to the CAO and see what he has to say about that.
So if I may, so a commission cannot share any of its excess funds with the municipalities that are members. That's provincial, but that does not mean that the commission cannot look at the rates that it charges, we'll say the tipping fees that it charges the municipalities. So in this budget cycle coming up, and we're hoping to have the budget on the 15th presented. The commission could look at, the fees that municipalities are charged for dumping at the landfill. If your sources of revenue, it's hard to see that the hydrovac site could keep up the kind of level that it has this year. But looking at future revenues and just where we need to go. I mean, we did have kind of a standard increase in tipping fees going on to stay ahead of the game, but maybe with the health that the finances of the commission are in, the board may want to consider taking a look at whether you will increase or even decrease the fees in the coming year.
Thank you very much for that explanation.
Joe.
I can add, if I might add a little detail as well, just looking at the rates that we do charge our member municipalities. Member municipalities are already getting quite a discount as it is. So when we did the life cycle analysis study, long-term costs, all those types of things to the landfill, that was about 3 or 4 years ago, and they said the full cost recovery that we should be charging, the rate that we should be charging for standard garbage was about $85 per metric ton, and that was about 4 years ago. So with inflation, that's probably up in the low 90s now, would be the kind of just the full cost recovery. So if we just want to run the landfill, shut it down, have enough money to do all the post-closure, we should be charging about that, 85 to 92 in that range. Our member municipalities are currently being charged $72 per metric ton for their waste. So well below kind of even full cost recovery. So just some perspective that despite the fact that the landfill is making strong revenue, to Harry's point, that's not necessarily going to always continue into the future. And we have to have those strong reserves in place for closure and post-closure, those types of things. So yeah, just my 2 cents.
Any other questions?
Can I just ask you again, Joe? So you're saying $85 per
metric ton.
Per metric ton? Okay.
That was the full cost recovery estimate by Tetra Tech about 4 years ago. So we've had bad inflation since then. So that's obviously up in the 90s now. Probably low 90s would be my estimate. That would be the full cost recovery rate.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we're paying about 72.
Yeah, member municipality's current rate is 72, so well below that.
Okay. Thank you very much for that information. Okay.
Perfect. If there is no other questions on this, Harry, would I want a motion for this 7B as well?
Yes, we would to accept it for information.
Would there be somebody willing to make the motion to accept the unaudited statement of operating revenues and expenses dated September 30th, 2025? Oh, Councillor Mitchell? Anybody opposed? I see none, so that is carried. C is blank, Harry. Does that mean that there's nothing for 7C or 7D?
No.
Okay, perfect. And so we'll go to 7E, roundtable discussion. Any discussion, roundtable discussion? I've never attended one of these meetings before, so I don't know what you guys would normally talk about here. Nothing? Okay,
No.
So we can move on to number 8. The next scheduled meeting will be held on December 15th at 2025 at 9:30 a.m. via Zoom virtual meeting. And then I'm just looking for a motion to adjourn.
I'll give you that motion.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Estes. We are looking to adjourn at 10:34 a.m. on November 24th, 2025. Any opposed? I see none. All right, so we are done this one. Oh.
We go to the Frank or wastewater operations portion, and we have to have the organizational meeting for that as well. So unless do we need a break? Is anyone need a break here?
Does anybody want 5 minutes?
I'm good.
I see
Okay.
none. Okay, so Harry, do you take this one over then?
Yeah, I'll
Okay, perfect.
I'll call the meeting to order, and I'll look for a motion for the adoption of the agenda.
I'll give you that motion, Harry.
Okay, thank you, Director Nychuk. And all in favor? Almost forgot.
In favor.
Almost forgot that. So I'm looking for nominations for position of chair of the wastewater portion of the commission.
Well, being that one of our members is already chair of landfill, that leaves Benita and I. So, Benita being new, I don't know how comfortable you are with being chair. Like I mentioned earlier today, my schedule is pretty jammed, but this portion of this meeting isn't usually very intense or long. So, if you guys want, I'll just say I'll chair it.
Okay, I give you that motion that Councillor Nychuk becomes chairman, this board.
Okay, any further nominations for chair? Seeing none, third and final time. Any nominations? Seeing none, I will declare Director Nychuk as chair and turn the meeting over to him.
Great, thanks, Harry. We'll move to item number 4 then on the agenda, nominations for position of vice chair. I might suggest, Benita, that I'll nominate you, and it'd be great if you could take it. Then all 3 of us on this little committee have chair duties for the landfill and the wastewater. So
I will accept that nomination. Thank you.
all right. I don't think we need to have a vote because that's acclamation. So congratulations, Benita. Welcome to the vice chair position of the Foothills Regional Services Commission, wastewater operations side of the business.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 5, banking and signing officers. I know, Harry, you were talking about that in the previous meeting. Probably just stick with assigning the same people. I think you had Benita as a signing authority. Sorry, I missed while I was driving through this. If there was a second that was required to that.
Well, in this case, because Director Nychuk is from High River and has to come in on a regular basis, I think it's a little easier if you're signing authority, the chair and vice chair. We have the 2 of you, so I think the motion as suggested would work just fine. Chair, vice chair, CAO, and director of corporate services.
Okay. Can I have one of the 2 members make that motion, please?
I can make that motion.
Thank you. Okay, motion's on the floor. Looking for any opposition. Hearing none, then that banking and signing officers is passed. The motion is passed. Thank you. Now item number 6, set regular meeting time and date. Fourth Monday of every month immediately following the landfill operations meeting. The only adjustment to that would be the December meeting, and I think that was moved to the 15th instead of the 22nd, if that's correct. CEO Reba Cameron, if you can confirm that.
Yep, that's correct.
Alrighty, just looking for a motion then to mirror and follow what we did for the landfill commission in as I laid out with the set the regular meeting time and date. Fourth Monday of every month, immediately following landfill.
I'll give you
Thank
that
you.
motion.
Thank you very much. Looking for an opposition then to the motion on the floor. No opposition, then the motion is passed. Thank you. Banking and signing done. Meeting date and time done. Moving to adjournment then. We will adjourn the organizational meeting at 10:10 a.m. and we'll immediately move into the regular operational meeting.
Yeah, I'm sorry, did you say 10:10 or 10:40?
Oh, sorry. 10:40.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, I was looking at a little. Thank you for the correction. Yes, adjourning at 10:40. Thank you very much. I did say 10:10 because that's what my I saw on my little device. Anyway, thank you. So now we'll move into the regular Foothills Regional Services Commission wastewater operations meeting, Monday, November 24th, and the time will be 10:41 for a call to order. Are there any additions to the agenda as presented? Not hearing of any, we'll move to acceptance of the minutes from the previous meeting. And I guess I'm the only one that can make that motion and vote on it. Because I was the only one in this group that, well, correct me, Harry.
No,
you're not
the
a
other,
you're not a voting member then, so.
no, but the other new members can vote on the minutes. Of course, you're the only one familiar with them, but
I
they,
thought there had to be attendance, but I'm mistaken. Thank you for correcting me. Okay, well, we'll put those minutes of the previous meeting out there. If one of our 2 other members has had the opportunity to look at them and would be willing to make a motion for acceptance of the previous minutes, I'll take that.
I can make that motion for you, Chair Nychuk.
Thank you very much. Looking for opposition to the motion. No opposition. That motion is passed and we've accepted the minutes from the previous meeting. Thank you. Item number 5, accounts payable. Accounts payable dated October 27th, 2025 in the amount of $5,119.11 be accepted for payment. Are there any questions regarding that motion? No questions, then I would ask for somebody to put that motion on the floor so we can vote on it. Thank you.
I'd be happy to make that motion, Chair Nychuk.
Thank you very much. The motion is on the floor. Looking for the opposition. Not hearing anything. That motion is passed and we've accepted the amount of $5,119.11 be accepted for payment. That was, oh, sorry, I didn't date that one. Let's rewind it a little bit. That's for the October 27th, 2025 amount. Moving to the next payable, which is for November 24th, 2025, $4,468.98 be accepted for payment. Looking for any questions, first of all, and then looking for a motion for that payable.
I'll give you that motion.
Thank you very much. Looking for the opposition to the motion. No opposition. Thank you. That motion is passed. The $4,468.98 payable for November 24th, 2025. Moving to the business portion of the agenda and looking to CEO Reba Cameron for the update to the lift station and pipeline, please. Thank you.
yes, Mr. Chair. So I'll provide maybe a little history for the new members of
Awesome.
the Frank Lake pipeline situation. So back in the late 80s, Cargill was courted to come to the area by High River, Okotoks, and the county, or MD at the time. And one of the major issues was to deal with the effluent that would be produced by their operations as a major user of water and creator of effluent. At the same time, the town of High River needed to upgrade its sewage treatment system. And so they were looking for a new site to locate their operations. The existing one, which was almost in town, was not doing well. It was overflowing, so it was undersized at the time. So all this came together, and there was a suggestion made that, you know, we got this dry water body out to the east here called Frank Lake, which doesn't have any water in it. And what's interesting is in the early 70s, Frank Lake used to flood, and flood control structures were built on it, and then it went dry. And and it was filling in with dirt. So the suggestion was made, and the Alberta Environment was right on board with this idea of energizing Frank Lake, which had been a major waterfowl area. So with Cargill and the town, we went to work. I happen to have been there. Sorry, been around a long time. But anyway, it was decided at that time that Cargill would build a wastewater treatment plant, and the town would build theirs, and a pump station and an intake on the river would be built, and then a pipeline would be built to Frank Lake. So some funding was required, and the province provided some grant funding, but the town of Okotoks, and this is quite a ways back, so this was a good size of money, put up $1 million each, and the county put up $1.5 million to build a water, an effluent treatment plant, wastewater treatment plant for Cargill. And then we built it, and we leased it to Cargill. And over a 20-year period, the three of us all received our investment back. But that created, the need for the three municipalities to get together to, keep track of this Frank Lake pipeline and ownership of it. So the commission existed, was decided to make just a subcommittee of the commission, and that's why the other members, the landfill portion, they're not involved, because we'll say they had no skin in the game. So the pipeline was built, and it's been operating ever since. And the cost of operating is borne by the users. So Cargill, the town, and a very small portion by the county, because we have very little treated effluent that goes out to Frank Lake through the town of High River system. That's kind of the, very short history of where we're at today. Is the town of High River is basically contracted to operate the pump station and deal with any issues, which they do. And you see in the accounts payable the payments to them for the work they do. The biggest costs right now are pumps. There's always something going on with the pumps in all utility operations, but we've just did some work. Well, the town did some work on the pumps out there. And the report is that pumps are working well. The pump number 1 was installed and has been operating smoothly. There'll be a vibration analysis scheduled for this pump. It was done already, and I haven't heard anything back on that. So that is really where we're at. Capacity-wise, there is still some capacity remaining in the pipeline. Not an awful lot, but every once in a while we have to run a pig through it to sort of clean it out. And there's, ongoing issues out at Frank Lake, which we're somewhat involved in. There's study by Ducks Unlimited and who were party to sort of operating the lakeside portion of it. So Ducks Unlimited, Cargill, and the University of Lethbridge are doing studies to look at, I guess, bettering the operations out there. There's always been a phosphate and a chloride problem with the effluent in the lake, and when it does overflow, it ends up in the Little Bow and into the Twin Valley Reservoir. So those issues are ongoing, and there's a side committee of the Highwood Management Plan Committee, which there should be a meeting coming up in the spring. I haven't got an exact date for it, but we're always part of that too. So I think that's from a historical point of view. As I say, this year the wastewater flow tables are next, but there's also another study to look at building a regional treatment facility for wastewater from both the county and the town of High River, which be located where the town of High River's facility is right now. We're waiting on some modeling to be done to determine the capacity of the Highwood River to accept effluent. And that will kind of determine sort of how Frank Lake will be used in the future. So that probably will be, that study should be completed early in the new year. And I'll keep the commission members up to date on that. I'm involved on behalf of the county, but I guess I'm also involved on behalf of the commission. So unless there's any questions.
Thanks. I think we can just, doesn't seem to be any questions. We can just go to the flow table for September and October.
Yes. So, you receive a chart which shows where we're at for this year. Things are actually pretty normal. Temperature has a big influence on Cargill and how much water they use and how much water goes out to Frank Lake. volumes are quite massive. I know 772 is not a big number until you add the the 6 zeros onto it, and that's imperial gallons. But so nothing out of the ordinary to report there from the volumes that are going out to Frank Lake.
Great, thank you. Any questions? Being that, I'm not saying this is the first time you looked at it, but you probably saw your agenda packages. So any questions or clarification while we have CAO Rita Cameron here, and he can use his wealth of knowledge if you do have anything specific. No questions, great. Generally in the past, we've accepted these flow tables as information, but we accept the minutes after every meeting, and these are included in the minutes. So we're just going to part and parcel that together. So when we accept the minutes at the start of next meeting, these flow tables will be accepted into it. So we're just going to forego that.
Okay.
Moving us to roundtable discussion. I guess this is at this point being an initial meeting for some of us members. If there's anything that anybody wants to bring up, questions, comments, anything like that, we can put that forward now.
I don't at this time.
Thank you.
Me neither.
Okay. Well, we'll move to item 7, and that's the next meeting. So next scheduled regular meeting will be held on December 15th, following the landfill portion of the meeting, which starts at 9:30. So that will be our next meeting. And if there's nothing else, last call, we will move to adjournment at 10:56. And I wish you guys all a happy snowy Monday. Take care if you're traveling.